Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another reaction and review. Of course, I am Justin, joined by Lucas,
What's
the
up, guys?
Disney Grizzly. And today we're on episode 3. As always,
Exactly.
you can get these weekly reviews sometime after Wednesday every week. We want to commit to Thursday, but we're not at that point yet where we can consistently come out. This week it was Fast and Furious 9.
So
We
we
went and
had to get
saw.
on top of
So
that.
we had to get on top of that. We may not have some review coming out for you guys. That being said, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share. If you like
Please,
this
guys.
content,
Please.
you can catch more of it on our backlog on Adventures by Abels and in the Bat Loop. If you like
Exactly.
movie review content or theme park content, or just vlogging with a family that has crazy adventures, Adventures by Abels and in the Bat Loop, two great channels you should subscribe to. All
Exactly.
right, well, let's get into it. We pick up last episode 2, with this crazy cliffhanger of all this stuff hitting the fan, where Loki seemingly betrays the TVA, doing the very Loki-like,
Like
stepped
backstabbing.
into the so he
Yeah.
steps into the portal after who is revealed last episode to be a female version variant of Loki.
Exactly.
And we start this episode off not there, but with the scene in a little kind of a resort cabana where there's the Lady Loki woman at this point is drinking some
Yeah, because we
cocktails
don't have
with this girl,
anything.
and turns out it's just the visual representation of what it's like to enchant people. And the girl she's having conversation with, she's trying to get dirt on the TVA, looking out where they're located, how to get in, who's involved, blah 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 blah. And it's just a little interesting, kind of mind bendy little scene. Um,
It
right
pulls
from
you
there,
into this
when
episode for sure.
it's like this, it kind of gives you this intrigue, like, oh, so Lady Loki's like a party, go to resort cabana kind of person, but it turns out no, it's just a little dream sequence she's creating to
Yeah.
enchant her victims. But it goes from there. We get this nice little hip hop logo with the Marvel splash, and I always love when they do that. I think I don't know when the first time they did it. I think it might have been Endgame, where instead of the Marvel theme playing with the logo, we get this song playing. So right from there, we we go to her. You think we're gonna have this crazy fallout that we're gonna get to see from her throwing all the reset bombs into the different eras and all that.
Time
But
zones, time
instead,
eras, timelines. Yeah.
we get a very quick chase scene between Lady Loki at this point. We will eventually learn her name is Sylvie, but Sylvie fighting some TV. So this is like the first action we've really got from the series, to be honest. So we get that Loki's coming after her.
Everyone,
Of course,
I just realized everyone's
hey
already in the
Katrina.
chat saying hi.
Of
We have
course
Jake right.
of course he's gonna go get his daggers that were confiscated from him in the chaos, and that we don't get to see much. I think we get Renslayer confronting Lady Loki, but eventually they
Yeah.
both escape into an apocalypse where they're hiding. This time it is uh, Lamentus 1 in the year 2077. This is a planet or moon. I couldn't remember if it was a moon colliding into a
It's
planet
a
or a planet
planet.
colliding into a moon.
I think it's the moon colliding into the
So,
planet because it's the
well, that
moon
makes
breaking
sense.
apart.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so there's like meteor showers coming all over the place. So they're at this stage, and they have this this device that allows them to move to where they need to go. But Loki, being smart, kind of has that device embedded inside him. So Sylvie then depends on him. So they have this kind of like reluctant partnership starting to form.
Almost, yeah.
And we get this cute little introduction scene where we see how they do different. They both of them kind of handle things differently. So where there's a house, little hut mind you. Very interesting design. A lot of creativity going on with, hey, this is a different planet, a different time. Let's flex our creativity muscles. Let's make it, weird designs all over the place.
I mean, they kind of do that with all the
So
cosmic, like Marvel
exactly,
MCU stuff. So
exactly. But this is just for an episode of a TV show. They didn't have to go this crazy with like, how interesting the designs were, and they did.
I actually have to say
And
that's probably the only part of this episode that I really enjoyed was like the aesthetics of Lamentus.
and I don't know. I think your audio sounds like deeper, like you have like a voice filter on for some reason, but that might be my end. Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
sure the people in the comments will let you know. So we go from there. So we get this woman who's kind of alone in this hut, and right off the rip, Sylvie tries to enchant her, and it don't work. The woman don't let it happen. So Loki's like, "Hey, I'm better than you, so I'm gonna, disguise myself as this husband or the person I assume is her husband from a
Yeah.
photo I saw through the window." And turns out, husband, not the best guy in the world, because the woman again sees right through this. So, and this kind of begins my first problem with this episode is we had this mystique built up with Sylvie where she was this ominous figure, where unpredictable and this mysterious, very capable person, where she seems like a threat. As soon as this scene starts, they're both relegated to bumbling buffoons stumbling around, and it was just like I
And
said, it
it
was cute.
just kept going. It just kept going though. It didn't
Yeah,
stop this
and
whole
it was
episode.
yeah, and it was cute, and I'm not gonna say the episode was bad. It wasn't a bad episode. It was a great. It doesn't feel like it feels very
Did
tonally
it?
different than the first two episodes.
It didn't do any
Um,
world building though, and that's what I don't like. Is you're only
it
dealing
did
with
it did
this
it did
with
very small world
what's up,
building,
Anna?
but this episode, because of the area they're in, because of the fact that they're not in a situation that is going to be involved with the main plot, this episode is based solely on character building, and the world building is relegated to whatever
But
conversation
it
happens.
wasn't
So,
the best character building in my opinion though.
no, like I said, right off the rip, they
Yeah.
get relegated to bumbling buffoons. Like
Yeah, they're
neither
like
one of them.
they were
Like
missing
it's
one more
not
person and
right.
they beat the Three Stooges, essentially, it felt like to me. They were just the Two Stooges. Justin? Sorry guys, technical difficulties again. I don't know if anybody can see this or not. Chat, can you see if Justin's moving or not? Because he's lagging on my end and I can't hear him.
Yeah,
There he
technical
is. There he
difficulties.
is. Sorry,
Might be on
guys.
my end.
There's a
Today
lot
has
of
been not
a
ideal.
day.
All right, test. Everybody good? We can all hear. We back. All right.
We're back in live.
So, like I said, they get relegated. We were wondering if Sylvie was going to be this, super awesome villain, but they're very equal.
That's great.
I told her to let it go, but she
And
said,
she
"Let
just
it
wasn't having it.
go."
She just wasn't having it.
So from here we, I don't want to, get into the completely replicating the whole thing because
Yeah.
it's just moving from one scene to the next. These two characters getting to know each other. Of course, Lady Loki is like, I'm Sylvie, because that's a cute pixie name, and apparently I'm a cute pixie for whatever reason. There's probably some like lore.
I think there must. Yeah, I'm sure there is. Pretty sure.
But
She seems like she fights. She fights a lot like Lady Sif.
I don't even want to go there.
Just pointing that out. I'm
'cause
pointing
maybe,
that out
but
real
like,
quick. I'm pointing that
yeah,
out.
I mean,
she has a very similar looking sword as Lady Sif as well.
right. I mean, and we get okay. So we get into this like, push and pull where both of them continue to try their own way of getting situations handled. And so since there is a impending apocalypse, there is always a group of people trying to escape, and of course this time it's a bunch of rich people on a train
Almost always always a bunch of rich
yeah,
people.
and
Yeah.
it's which is good meta commentary, but it just doesn't really seem to be acknowledged too much. It's just more of a throwaway joke.
It's just backdrop because we know these people are dead.
Yeah, and so like I said, we get to this area has no real consequences because A, it's an apocalypse, and B, it's not furthering the A plot. We're not in the situation where we're getting story beat after story beat. But
It was literally a filler
we
episode.
do get and we do get the conversations that are had between Sylvie and Loki at a bar where we get some of their different backstories. We get more of Loki's backstory. Of course, I never considered that Loki, he learned his magic from his mom, but like him saying it
Yeah.
just reminds you, like, oh yeah, like I always forget her name.
Freya.
Freya, yeah. Um, the relationship her and Loki had, where she probably taught him more stuff than she taught anybody else.
Yeah,
she was
because
mom.
Thor was more akin to Odin, while
Yeah,
Loki was more akin to the mom. I mean, both Thor and Loki loved their mom, but I think Freya took a liking to Loki because he was like the abandoned child that they took in.
right. And Freya's just like awesome all around. Like, she was raised by witches. She knows the future. Blah blah blah. Oh yeah, we're almost there.
We're
So
almost there, yeah.
yeah, so they're discussing the differences. So they have this nice little rapport going where and that was one of the things where I'm like, if this Sylvie, we're gonna get this test of like, does she demand the same kind of chemistry that Owen Wilson's Mobius had? And no, that she just
No,
they don't have the chemistry. To me, seems a little forced, but it might
I
be.
don't like her.
Well,
At this moment in time, I don't like her.
yeah, it's hard to form an opinion on her because, like this episode, like if you think about it, if Tom Hiddleston did everything that she did in this episode, it would just be him. Like she's more similar to Loki than I wanted, and that's kind of the problem because it's just like I was thinking of anyway. So we do get that back and forth where she's like, hey, he's like, hey, you got anybody? And I'm thinking, is there about to be some like romantic overtures? But no, it's just breaking down the barriers. He's like, you got anybody back home? Yeah, and she's like, I've had my flings here and there. What about you? Any princesses? Any princes? And he's like, yeah, I like them both, bruh. Like
He was
both
just
of
like a
them.
little bit of both, yeah.
Yeah, which is good because it is something to acknowledge. Like I don't remember who posted it. I think it might have been Jake, but it was like all vampires are bi. And it's the thing where if you get someone who's immortal, right, and they just
Mm-hmm.
live for hundreds of years, they might start experimenting with things that someone living 100 years would probably never feel they needed to.
Think about doing, yeah.
And so it's like at that point you get all vampires are bi, all whatever. So Loki kind of has this flamboyant vampire-esque flair, and he's a god, and he's I don't know, snooty, like whatever he's suave, whatever the word, he's uppity, like
He's
he's got
uppity.
that
I'm about to say, I was
yeah
waiting for you to say it,
from
and I wasn't going to say it
from
myself,
the
but
royal
uppity.
background.
Uppity would
So
be the right word.
yeah, so he's got that royal background going, and yeah, I mean he's a prince of Asgard, and you would naturally assume, and it's great that Disney acknowledged that.
Yeah.
I don't think because it's Disney we're going to get like a male love interest for Loki. I think that's all we're going to be really
That's
like.
a
I think that's it.
little too far out of. I think
Um,
that's a little too far out of the ballpark right now. I don't think we're going to get a love interest for Loki at all.
yeah, that's what I was going to get into the Netflix Marvel shows, how they're very. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. So we
Yeah.
go from the they both breaking down each other's barriers to where they're like, hey, oh, by the way, the only reason they're on the train is Loki smashed the. Oh no, we're not there yet. So
You look jump a little ahead of yourself.
so right, Loki showing like a little bit of magic off, so he's got like he can make fireworks.
He's actually got
Which
a
I'm
lot of
like,
magic compared to.
oh, Did you think Jubilee when you saw him do that? Because I thought Jubilee.
I
But
did,
anyway,
I did. But I mean, did you notice he has a extensional like knowledge of magic over Sylvie? Sylvie's very warrior esque and uses a lot of warrior esque like enchantments good
she's
for like
physical. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, Jake could probably help me out with the. I don't think he's watching. Oh no, he is watching. He could help me out with like the D&D classes if he was relegate them to a class.
Yeah.
But at this point, like we do get to see those differences. They extend beyond backstory.
Hmm.
Where Sylvie never knew her mom, I think, or her dad, one of the two.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter at this point. Um, so we go from there. They're both kind of having some downtime because they're just waiting on the train. Loki, instead of keeping his head down like a smart boy, starts partying like an Asgardian with the rich people in the bar, which of course draws everybody's attention. And it's cute, and we get, apparently he's a really good singer. Tom Hiddleston. Never heard him sing,
Yo,
but he's really good.
that bar
Really good.
song, choice.
I mean, if I was in a bar and I knew the words, I would be slamming my fist on the table singing too. And then he does the
I just
callback to
wanted
the
to be in
first
a bar
four.
during that experience personally. Personally, just
Yeah.
saying that, like I haven't been able to experience that myself, but like I'd love to be in a bar that's like either like singing sea shanties or just doing like an Irish folk song or something,
Ladies
and
and
just
gentlemen,
like
you can
yeah,
get that experience if you go on a Saturday night to Disney Springs and a place called
Raglan Road.
Raglan Road. They do that every Saturday,
They
and it is
do, they do.
amazing. And the drinks are not that great unless you're a big old beer person, or if you like
Those,
Irish coffee. It's
those
bland,
Guinnesses are
but
good. You shut your mouth.
hey, I didn't say beer was terrible. I just said I don't like it. But anyway, uh, getting back to the plot, Loki again. The character building this series so far is Loki's all about the metaphors. So love is a dagger, ladies and gentlemen. That's what this episode's
All his
metaphor is
metaphors
about.
have been so bad too.
Um, well, that's I think they're the point of like he's trying. It's kind of like you get like Michelangelo and the Ninja Turtles trying to come up with a quip and never can, and then finally he gets one and it's satisfying. I
I
think
like how
we're
you're
gonna get
referencing Ninja Turtles right now. I just want to throw that out
yeah.
there for anybody who doesn't know. Justin has recently acquired a taste for the Ninja Turtles, so he's a little bit more relevant with what he's saying now when it
Yeah,
comes
like
to Ninja
I
Turtles.
get
But
it
like,
now.
he
I've been a
finally got
hater.
into it.
I've been a
Yeah,
hater forever, but
yeah.
anyway, I think we're gonna get probably like a scene later on in the future where Loki finally does have a metaphor, and Owen Wilson's like, "Wow, that's a good one," or something, But
I
it's
think
been
we will too. I think
confirmed
it'll be the
he's not
last
gonna say
episode.
"wow." It's been confirmed that Owen Wilson's not saying "wow" in this, which is like flip the camera. Anyway, so again, they Sylvie and Loki, because they've drawn attention to each other, they get thrown off the train because, oh, we know you're not supposed to be here and we're not idiots. So they throw them off the train, which of course breaks Loki's time travel device and they end up having to walk. While they're walking, they have this, magic explanation, like they're explaining each other's magic. It's I'm not going to get into that. But they do the only
Do
world
you
building
think
we
they're
get.
I wonder. So she said she never had a mother, right?
Mhm.
So I wonder how her magic, where she gets her magic from. I mean,
Yeah,
I have a theory who Lady Loki is. I don't think that, but
I do too. I think she's Sylvie, but I'm waiting on there to say her name of sixth time for me to. Anyway,
I think so. I think she's the Marvel's version of Enchantress.
yeah, no, she's obviously like a hybrid of Marvel kind of does that with some of their characters, where if they can't do you know all the different characters, sometimes combine too. And I know there are some, but I'm
Well,
not really
no,
no
there's
examples
a
of some.
character from Asgard named the Enchantress as well. So I
Yeah,
think
that's what I'm
that's
saying.
the
Yeah,
MCU's version of the MCU's Enchantress.
yeah. Sylvie is clearly a hybrid of like Lady Loki and Enchantress. and I'm fine with it. But at this point, we have yet to really. I'm not endearing myself to her yet, and but we do get the only world
I'm not
building.
investing any time in Lady Loki now. Like, I just like I'm so ready for like this Loki variant to be like a really like like Bamf version of Loki, and what we got in this episode is not what I wanted. Like, it's
No,
definitely not what I wanted, and I don't know how many
and
other
that's not
people
what they
wanted
set
this.
up. It's not what they set up.
Exactly,
They
it's
set
not what
up.
they set up,
Yeah,
and
they
the
set up like
setup. And like, you remember last week when I was talking about like how the reveal of the Loki variant was too early?
um
Like I think
the
it's
build
way
up
too
wasn't
early.
there for you.
Exactly. Like they just like boom, here's the variant. Now we know who the variant is at the end of episode
Boom,
2.
you looking
Granted,
for
I know
this?
it's a exactly. Granted, I know it's like episodes. There's 6 episodes, right?
Right.
There's 6 episodes, so they got to like progress the story a little faster. Sorry, guys, but there was no lead up to like us even hinting at it being Lady Loki. I mean, granted, a lot of like some of us were like, "Hey, a lot of different variants of Loki. You know what's popular right now? Like different variations, very alternate variations of a character. Let's throw in Lady Loki." Like I knew that's what was going to happen, but the way they went about it was not good, in my opinion. Just too early to reveal who it was. And then this episode doesn't even address what she does in episode 2 at all. At all. We don't get addressed the time bombs going off at all.
We
You
see
just
the
wasted a
chaos
whole
at the
episode.
beginning. We see the chaos at the beginning when they're in the TVA, but then immediately they go to it's Insidious Invictus.
That's a good. That's a good point. If they
Lamentus.
did drop a
Lamentus.
funk over, yeah.
Um, yeah, and that's fine. Like they have plenty of time to flesh her out and regain, but like there's just not much here yet. And
There isn't,
what
and
we got, what we
it
got, just
bothers me
relegated
a
her
little bit.
to bumbling buffoon, and like that's Loki. What made the first episode so good was Loki is this, egotistical. Everybody can now see through his nonsense. Where
Yeah, exactly.
before he was this big threat, but we know, he's just a sad little boy, and you get him next to Owen Wilson's character Mobius, who is this, very.
What's crazy to me is they've turned. Yeah, the craziest thing to me is they turned like granted, I know like Thanos came around in the movies and like other people came after Loki, but Loki was such an endearing threat at like Avengers 1. And this whole show is basically turned him into like a slapstick comedy villain, like something you see out of Looney Tunes, it feels like.
Right. And it feels very, I don't know. I don't want to analyze it too much, but all I'm going to say is like that's fine when you have other characters to play off of him. When you have Sylvie, who is just almost a carbon copy of him right now, which is kind of what they were building. They were like, oh, it's another variant of Loki, so it's going to be like Loki. But they also set her up to be this, very high stakes threat. And
Exactly.
like, last episode, we got the stakes rose so high just to I keep saying relegate. Relegate is the word of the week. To end up with this.
Relegate was the word of the day.
To end up with this very low stakes, inconsequential side episode where, there's. Well, let's finish the recap because we're almost done. We get the only world building that this episode has where Sylvie reveals that the TVA agents
are all variants. Yeah, that's the only thing we get, and that bothered me. But I loved it a lot. I'm like, okay, so this further cements my like a lot of our theories about the Kang theories about the like the Council of Kangs, or like a singular
fully
Kang.
bought in, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But so from there, they reach the Ark, and everybody's trying to get on the Ark because they don't have much time left. Like they revealed earlier, there was like 12 hours before Doomsday, and Doomsday is now here. So everybody's running around like crazy, trying to get on this Ark, and it doesn't really matter because the Ark blows up. But before that, we get this really awesome, the best part of the episode. We get this 1-track camera shot of,
That was good.
I mean, clearly it's blue screen, like green screen in the background, so it's a
Yeah,
lot of CGI and the characters reacting to it.
of course.
But whenever it's a one shot scene and you're taking me from one area to the next, to the next, to the next, that always is thrilling and never gets old. Like, granted, I don't want that for every movie, but when it's relevant to what's going on, it's cool. However, there is one scene where a pillar is falling down and Loki just like either time reverses or force pushes it back into place. And I was like,
Exactly.
we've never seen him use that power before. So weird. But then
I thought
again,
it
we
was
haven't
cool
really.
though.
Oh yeah, it was cool. Like everything looked cool, but it
Like
was
he's
one of those like.
fighting. So him fighting in this episode makes like it actually feels like the character Loki fighting, whereas like in the movies he was like hitting people with the staff and like
And he
shooting
had
people with the
minions.
staff.
He always had his
Exactly.
posse, his minions. This is like him
Exactly.
doing
And
it.
then when he was like doing it with like Thor, when he was like in Dark World and like Ragnarok, he was doing a bunch of like, blipping around. He blipped once and maybe stabbed somebody in the back or made like a duplicate of himself. He didn't really show like him using magic. And then it actually showed him using like Asgardian magic to fight with in this episode. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But you never seen it before, which is awesome. But at the same time, it's like, how long have you had this and why haven't we seen this before?
Magic is half and half of me in the Marvel universe. Like if they're doing something interesting with it, I love it. It's my favorite thing that Marvel does. But if they're not, like this one, I would almost like when they're just doing this and like beams are coming out of their hands. Not that cool. But when they're like some of the best magic we get was Doctor Strange versus Thanos in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Where he's doing spells that have different effects, and you can see those effects visually, and you see how he executes them, and you feel that he's a capable sorcerer. Where Loki feels like he's a high school graduate sorcerer. Doctor Strange feels like he's a doctor of sorcery. See what I did there?
Well, yeah, that's
anyway,
Sorcerer Supreme. Of course he would.
Right.
Like, why would Loki?
Yeah. I'm just liking that. Despite Loki being an Asgardian god, Doctor Strange is still way better up here with magic, and because he's my favorite character. And I know they're trying to make Wanda more powerful, but I'm not concerned with power. I'm raw power. I'm concerned with tactics,
knowledge of power, like knowledge of power.
How well you implement.
Well, I mean, now that she has the Darkhold, I know we're talking about that now, but also Wanda is probably a threat the TVA wants to eliminate because she's going through different timelines trying to find her sons now. So that ties into the TVA. But like
finishing up the recap.
Yeah, sorry. I was going deep in.
No, we'll get. I'm just saying, let's get this over the way, and we'll get into that. The Ark is destroyed. Oh gosh, what are they going to do? What a twist! I mean, obviously, they're going to be fine. Like, you don't feel like them being stranded on this doomsday planet is going to last.
Mobius finds them.
Something's going to happen, and I don't know it. But I'm not like super like, oh, I got to see the next episode now because it's like, well, none of what we just saw mattered. And I don't know when we're going to get to the consequences of the time bombs going on. But I do want to talk about, so we got some topics. I don't know if Lucas has any topics he wants to touch on. I'm going to throw it over to my co-anchor, Lucas.
The topics of like I don't have much to say about this episode because literally the only thing about the episode that paints the bigger picture for this show and Marvel moving forward is just finding out the TV agents are all variants. That's it. That's the only thing that I would want to talk about because that's the only tidbit of information that matters to me. Like I don't care that like about Lady Loki at all. Like I thought I would. I don't care about her.
You can call her Sylvie now. I don't want to get into this
Sylvie.
Baby Yoda versus Grogu thing. We're always going to call her Lady Loki.
True.
She was only Lady Loki in our minds. Now she's Sylvie. But anyway.
Yeah, true. So Sylvie, I don't have much of a care for. And this episode made me not care for Loki either, like himself. Like I wanted him to be like I wanted him to be forming like into what he was closer to in Infinity War and like Endgame, where he was actually Speechless with a review. Please check if he has a fever. Yeah, I don't have I didn't like this episode. I didn't. And Carla
I
was sitting
liked
next to
it,
me.
but it's
Carla was sitting down next to me. She's watched this whole show too, by mind you guys. If you don't know anybody coming into the stream, Carla hasn't been on any of these yet. She's my wife. We do, over on Adventures by Abel's, we do our own thing as well. But she's watching it as well, and she was so excited for this show to begin with because she loves the character of Loki, but she doesn't like the show. Yeah.
Is it because he's a brave boy?
I think she just likes Tom Hiddleston. But the whole time travel and different timelines and stuff, throw her for a loop. So she wasn't truly invested. But at the end of this episode, she stopped and she's like, this was not good. And I'm sitting there thinking, and I'm like, the 2 episodes we had before this were flawless to me. They had little bits and pieces where it's okay, you could do a little bit something better. But granted, the narrative was great. The narrative for this was a filler anime episode. It's like you're watching the main arc from a manga in the anime, and then all of a sudden you gave me an episode that doesn't make sense with all these people doing wacky nonsense, and that's what this was.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just wacky nonsense that didn't further drive the story. But unless now you introduce a new character that saves them, basically, that's all you could do. Move this forward.
Yeah, I like to use Loki metaphors too, and food metaphors. I feel like you go to your this new restaurant that just opened, and the first meal you had was amazing, and you go back again and again, it's amazing, and then you go back the third time and you order something that you'd wanted to try, but you wanted to get the other things out of the way first, and you try it, and it's wait, is this the same restaurant? This isn't as good as your previous stuff. But that being said, it's first off, this is the only episode where we really got any fight scenes. We've had a few little minor,
maybe that's why
last very long.
Maybe that's why I'm thinking the way I am, because there was more action, and I don't think I'm ready for action yet, in this show, because it's been so dialogue heavy.
The writing is so good that the action is just time away from that. I think this episode was also shorter than the first 2.
Was it? I don't know.
I think so, because I looked at it, I was it's over now. Because when it ended, I was like, it's over?
But maybe you were the same predicament I was. Sorry, guys. That was a bird. Cool. So, oh, sorry. What am I saying? I lost track. This episode. Sorry. This episode... we were expecting more because of how it was driving down the road of this show so far. You're getting more and you're getting more and you're getting more, but we didn't get anything. So we kept sitting on our edge of our seat. When's the next bit of the story coming? And it never came.
Right. And then, it goes again. So we have, let's get into some predictions. Here's some things I've learned in the week so far of the media culture surrounding the show. Yeah. There's a guy on TikTok. I wish I could shout him out, but I can't because I didn't prepare. But he was talking about when Ant-Man goes into the quantum realm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's 1 or 2 in Ant-Man, but there is a city in the background in a shot that looks eerily like the TVA. So if Ant-Man was stuck in the quantum realm between Infinity War and Endgame, and time didn't pass, it stands to reason that the TVA is also in the quantum
realm. That's why Kang is in Quantumanium.
Yeah. So, and now I am fully bought in to the Kang theory. Granted, my friend Jake doesn't think he's going to be the Thanos level bad that we're going to get, but he is going to be a big bad. So, yeah, this one was definitely shorter. Thanks, Katrina. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, giving us a little lift up there with some info. Nice. So yeah, I'm fully bought into the Kang. Now where that goes, I don't know. I've already talked about my prediction that like with the writers, I think they're going to give Loki like a really solid metaphor that one of the characters is going to go, "Wow, that makes a lot of sense," because
For
it seems like
once.
they're building that up, but
Yeah.
or they just will be on because like the time he did it, this the Love is a Dagger, it was nice, but yeah, it was nice, but it wasn't
It was better than the salad.
well. At the same time, it feels like okay. How many more of these are we going to get? Are they going to go anywhere? Are they going to
He's
just
had one
be?
almost every episode so far, right?
I don't recall from the first one if he had.
I don't
one.
either. So, but I'm just saying, like, I think so. Maybe. Well, no.
Right.
But metaphor. So you think metaphor? I mean, I believe Kang is involved, especially since Renslayer was right there. Like when they were right there at the elevator.
That is such a dumb name.
It is, but she was right there, right when they were like getting ready to go into the timekeeper's chamber. Like she was right there, and Renslayer is the lover / wife of King the Conqueror.
You know, can I just say Renslayer sounds like she has some kind of beef with Adam Driver. You know, Renslayer.
I hate you. I hate you so
Ladies
much.
and gentlemen, he said it. You heard it first. Lucas hates me. So,
oh no,
I've been saying it for years. What?
If it doesn't get any better, I'm done watching it. I'm gonna watch it all the way through. I'm gonna watch it all the way through.
There's only
because
3 more
it's
episodes
Marvel
left. It's not like
it's Marvel, baby, but
it's not like you're giving up your soul to watch the show, and it's gonna tie in.
I want at what I want at the end of the show is I want Mobius talking to Loki, or like if the TVA isn't destroyed, if the TVA is still around, maybe they reform the TVA and they find out that like it's not what everyone expects it to be, but then they reform it because they're basically just doing whatever the heck they want, just erasing history points. I want there to be a discussion about Wanda causing a ruckus in the timeline because they're focusing on all these different things happening, but no one went to deal with Wanda at all. No one from the TVA went to deal with Wanda at all. The woman brought Vision back to life. Was that part of the Timekeeper's plan? I don't think so.
If you're asking me, Wanda's a Nexus being, if you remember, so she is the same person in all timelines. So I think she's immune to the Timekeeper's plan because of that. Like everything she does is just relegated.
But being as that,
allocated.
Wouldn't the being that though? Don't you think the Timekeepers will want to try and put her on the time, like keep her in check though?
You can't.
At least try to, especially since she's trying to bring her children into reality again.
Her children supposedly are from a different universe, so they would probably. I don't know. The theory, all it goes is like they may have tried but failed, and so they're just like, yeah, screw it, we're not going to interfere.
Well, we don't know, but they haven't talked about that though, because the only time
there's way more we don't know, and I don't know. Like I don't really have who knows? Like unless you've seen do you have a theory or do you think?
I think Wanda, if they continue the TV shows into the movies, I think Wanda might be the big bad moving forward that they deal with in the Avengers movie.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't think we have 3 episodes left. We've only got a little bit of
movie. Talk about Wanda because this also brings into Kang because Kang is an Avengers level threat. Like he's not like an Ant-Man level threat, right? He's like an Avengers.
That's what I told you. He's probably going to be like an Ultron. You know? He's
an Avengers level threat. So, but Kang is also teamed up with the Avengers. So I think if we see Kang, it's going to be if we see Kang in here, he's going to seem like a threat. But team up with the Avengers to deal with Wanda. Because Wanda's causing a ruckus in the timeline, and his whole thing is about time and time travel. So if she's causing a ruckus that affects the future where Kang is from, then maybe that's why he appears in Quantumanium, and that's where like he's coming into play with the Avengers to deal with a bigger threat. And then, but mask himself and then try and to be a bigger threat and to be a threat down the line as well. It's just there's so much information that they're giving us without any context at all right now, and I don't like it. Like before, they would give us like information about who was going to be in the movies or who was coming out for movies, and we're like, oh, we can build like a good like idea in our head about what's going on. But the fact that we're dealing with like multiverses and time travel and this, that, and the other now, there's so many possibilities and opportunities that Marvel
they're not
have.
setting up. They're setting up possibilities. They're not setting up like known quantities. Yeah, because like you see Thanos at the end of the first Avengers, you're like, oh well, he's gonna fight the Avengers, and sure enough, he fights the Avengers. When you see where Wanda ends up at the end of WandaVision, it's what the heck's gonna happen? There is no telling where she's gonna go from there. Like, is she gonna help Doctor Strange? Is she gonna make things worse for Doctor Strange? I
think she's. So. I think if she's not an Avengers level, if she's not going to be in an Avengers level movie, I think she's going to be like a semi-antagonist in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Well, not
the attack, not the antagonist, but like a partial antagonist, like causing like a bunch of ruckus, and then they deal with like Shumagorath. Because I'm almost positive Shumagorath is going to be like the main villain for Multiverse of Madness. Movies coming out, correct? Just in the universe. Now, there's no movies coming out, correct? Just the new universe. What do you mean? What do you mean no new movies?
Movies. There are movies coming out.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
We got Black Widow in just a couple weeks.
Yeah, Black Widow, that's a prequel, but it'll, build on the story of Black Widow. Maybe moving forward, we'll have characters from Black Widow on the team or like dealing with the Avengers. If Taskmaster doesn't die, I hope he comes back. Maybe to fight Captain America now in Winter Soldier. That's dope.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, one thing I want to talk about, if we're talking about Kang, according to Jake, he's a descendant of Reed Richards, who's a mutant.
Yep.
So
no. Reed Richards isn't a mutant.
No. Kang is a mutant.
Oh, he has no powers. His whole thing is he has a suit and he's a time traveler. He has no powers. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know anything. Okay, I might be misremembering what Jake said. But,
he is a descendant of the Richards.
Who I don't think is watching because it's very lonely with just. Katrina doing all the heavy lifting is great, but like, where?
I know.
Anyway, so we get Kang is somehow related to Reed Richards. So I was wondering, are they going to introduce him before Reed Richards in a way? Are they just going to not have a? Are they not going to be tied together?
I think we got confirmed that the Fantastic Four movie is the end of this phase. Like it's ending this phase.
That's weird. An introduction movie is the end of a phase. Yeah. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Was it Homecoming? Was it Homecoming? I know Spider-Man got introduced in Civil War, but like Spider-Man's introductory movie was the end of a phase, wasn't it? Or am I wrong?
Traditionally the phases always end with Avengers movies,
yeah.
But the only reason the last movie didn't end with it ended with Spider-Man Far From Home was because that was just like kind of like an epilogue to end.
Oh yeah, like the chair that's up.
Yeah, they always ended the phase with the Avengers.
Okay, I thought Homecoming ended a phase for some reason.
That's because you're silly. Anyway,
I know. There's so many of these movies, and they're happened through so many years of our life already. It's hard to.
So speaking of other movies, we did get a new trailer for Marvel Shang-Chi coming out in a few months. I think September.
Exactly.
Eternals. No, Eternals is November. September is Shang-Chi. So, we don't have it to throw up on the screen for you guys. So if you haven't watched it and you don't want trailer spoilers, like there's such a thing,
we'll give you 5 seconds right here. 1, 2,
5,
3,
4, 3,
4,
4,
5. Yeah,
Time
exactly.
flows
We're
differently
done.
in the TVA, so you can't do traditional countdown.
You can't. So now we're in spoiler territory for the saying Shang-Chi trailer.
The trailer, right? Spoilers. Trailer. And again,
Yeah.
I didn't really want to watch it. I don't. I end up. My friends are like, "Watch this trailer. Watch this trailer. Watch this trailer." And of course, it's great to have content.
I'm that friend. I'm
I
that
know. I
friend.
don't like that because I don't like trailers. After I will be forever burned by the final trailer for Batman versus Superman, where they're like, "Hey, here's
Will they give you the
Doomsday."
whole movie? Yeah.
I'm like, well, I would have been such a great surprise, but no. I mean, it's like, yeah, we know Batman and Superman are gonna not fight at the end and then team up. It's like, okay,
Yep.
great.
Anyways.
Anyway,
Anyways.
yeah. So
I
I'm trying
I
to
don't
let
know.
you talk.
No, I don't know nothing about Shang-Chi. I just know that the Ten Rings are typically actual like rings, not these like bands that they show in the trailer. And his father's the Mandarin, which is a very big Iron Man villain. Like that's the only thing I
Not
know
Ben
from
Kingsley.
the. Yeah, exactly. The Mandarin, guys. It's actually the Mandarin, which is awesome.
Neither one of
But
them is orange,
yeah,
which is a shame. Mandarin orange.
just cast Donald Trump for the Mandarin. No, please, whitewash. So this trailer's pretty good. I liked it a lot. It's definitely a different breath of Marvel. It's martial arts heavy, very martial arts heavy, and also CGI heavy, like most Marvel movies are. Uh, I was hoping it was going to be more like the gritty, realistic feel that the Captain America movies brought into the gameplay, and how like Winter Soldier and Captain America Winter Soldier did as well. But it's definitely seems like it's leaning more into like the mystical, like, you know, not sorcery side of things, but like, you know, spiritual sides of things for Marvel. We got a couple cameos in this trailer as well. Like we said, we're kind of in spoiler territory for those of you who haven't seen it yet. At the very end of the
Abomination.
trailer, Nation and Wong and
Wong's
Wong.
in it.
That was Wong. That's Wong fighting Abomination.
Oh, I didn't know that. I was too busy looking at
Yeah,
the spine
the
bones growing out of
Abomination.
his back. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So there at there's like a little
Did you
cage
see
match scene at the end of the
Mephisto
trailer.
in the trailer?
Oh
Because
my god, guys! Last night when we were watching Fast Nine, I swear to God, I saw Mephisto. Just saying, guys. Um,
especially
no,
in the Black
for
Widow trailer. Yeah.
so right at the end of the trailer, a little bit before the end of the trailer, they show Shang-Chi fighting this other woman inside of a cage, and then they cut to the end of the trailer, and it's Abomination from Incredible Hulk, Edward Norton's Incredible Hulk, mind you, because Tim Roth is coming back to play Abomination in the She-Hulk show. So, just saying. But we see Abomination fighting Wong from Doctor Strange. So that's pretty awesome. Just
Yeah.
saying. I don't know
Yeah.
how this all plays into Shang-Chi, but that's awesome.
I'm
I don't know what to expect from
already
this.
my hype levels. I think Shang-Chi is like what I'm most looking forward to, like a little bit more than Black Widow, just because I can't wait for like kung fu coming, like real kung fu. We've gotten it with Iron Fist, but
Well, it's
it
also
won't.
story progression. It's not prequel. It's story progression.
Yeah, it's the first movie that moves the story forward. Unless you don't know, it might be no. It's not a prequel because Wong is in it. So yeah. Anyway,
Wong, yeah.
so there's some of the powers they're using. They have these bracelets that are, I guess, the 10 rings, but they're actually
Hmm.
bracelets. So it's like figure out what
Yeah.
a ring is. 10 bracelets. The legend of the 10 bracelets. But they like kind of shoot energy
I'm
blasts out
just
that are like
sorry. Now I'm
furry
just envisioning those rubber band bracelets from like the
silly
early
bands.
2000s.
Silly
No,
bands.
no, not the silly bands. You remember the
Live
thick ones
strong.
that used to have
Live strong.
like love cancer or like breast
The live
cancer
strong.
awareness
Yeah.
ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Just I saw I just imagine like 10 of those, and it's just like him making like the emo girl noises, like roar.
Right. That you never have a more beautiful imagination than Lucas right here.
Oh man,
Um, but so yeah, Shang-Chi. I mean, it's good stuff. I was very
No, Katrina, not those. No, not those.
And I really hope though, like,
The
because
Lance Armstrong
what
ones,
I
that
know
one.
about
Yeah, those.
what I know about Shang-Chi is what I read from him in a little thing called Ultimate Marvel Knights, which was like one of the comic sagas of Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So during that, it's Kingpin is the bad guy, and you get Daredevil, Iron Fist, Moon Knight, and Shang-Chi
Mm-hmm.
going after Kingpin. And come to find out, Iron Fist and Shang-Chi kind of bros. They got this, they run around Hell's Kitchen doing kung fu on everybody. And,
Kung Fu,
they should
karate
learn
chopping it,
not to go ninja
ninja
people
kicking.
that don't need
I
ninja,
mean, ninja.
but they didn't listen. They ninja'd everybody. That being said, um, I
So
really
we're
hope
coming up
that
on you in Hell's Kitchen. No
I
says
know
I.
that I know that of the Netflix Marvel shows, Iron Fist is the least favorite among viewers, and I get that, and I get the hate for the actor playing Danny Rand, but
But
he's already in the
he
series.
looks like someone who would be Danny Rand in the comic
He
books,
looks like
though.
Danny Rand. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not really good at line delivery, but
Oh,
and
okay.
he's very corny and whatever. But where he's like, "I am the immortal Iron Fist." He kind of reminds me of Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat 2021.
Love
Um, but he's not. He's a white dude doing that. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Which it might be wrong of me to say. I don't know. But it's
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. Like, he's already established. We haven't used any characters from the Netflix Marvel shows. Which, talking about Loki, we've been saying like, oh, Loki's our favorite. Loki's our favorite. I only mean
Matt
that
Murdock
in
is
regards,
supposed to be in No Way
right?
Home.
Which
So,
not confirmed. It's a rumor, and who knows? But the
Wait,
thing
there's
is,
more.
though, when we're talking about Loki's our favorite, we mean in the Disney Plus show. My favorite is like, the Daredevil from Netflix. I think Punisher and Daredevil are probably like the most spot
Yeah.
on adaptations of comic book characters. Like, when it comes to like reading a comic book and seeing them come to life, when you see Iron Man in the MCU and you see Captain America, when you see Thor and Hulk, very,
That
very, very different than
that
the comic
Daredevil is
Iron Man.
very Frank Miller Daredevil, though.
Yes, yes. And it's again, Frank Miller, I guess, just loves the characters that have the one rule: they don't kill, because he's very big in Batman. Daredevil and Batman kind of have that similar vibe going. But I really do respect when you have a show that you can binge watch. I feel like when they release all the episodes like all at once instead of like
Mhm.
Disney where it's every week, the conversation is relegated. I was like, I got to think of another word to use. That's the word of the day. Get off the stream, Justin. Stop. Um, you diminish. There you go. Diminish. We got some vocab coming. The
There you go.
conversation
Wikipedia for you.
to about the season versus the one episode per week. So when you see Daredevil, it's like, oh, did you see season one? I saw season one. So we get to this state of being where if you want to tell a really good story, a long form story, I actually do think the Marvel shows on Netflix that sadly are not coming out anymore. Those do a better job for the most part. Granted, there are more episodes that feel like filler, but the characters are all endeared to you so that you're not bored, and that goes for almost all the characters. So
I mean, they appeal to definitely us because it's a very more adult storytelling,
right,
whereas the
and that's the
MCU.
thing, they're not limited by, well, we can't show this character like having somebody like directly, so they can do that, but like ultimately, I don't
Yeah.
think that's it. Like, they're not throwing around cuss words here and there like all the time. They do, but it's not like I don't think I've heard a single
gratuitous.
F-bomb. I don't think I've heard a single F-bomb in any of them.
True. But I don't think in a MCU show on Disney Plus you would see Kingpin crush somebody's head in a door.
No, and that's
Like, the
that's
way
the
he
thing.
did.
You can't if Thanos was doing those things, and I think Marvel's always been like like Disney Marvel and like Marvel for Kids has always been like, hey, you want to see Wolverine fight something? Have him fight robots because there's no blood, So,
I mean, you're right. You're 100% right. Holy moly.
So we get, you get to see Thanos smashing the heck out of like robots or monsters. Like we can see dismemberment as long as it's a ogre like creature, but they won't show actual people getting their arms cut off, or they'll cut the camera away if they want to do. But anyway, we're talking about. I just think the Netflix Marvel shows, if you haven't watched them and you want Marvel shows, those are the top tier. Like I think those are the better. Like I think, granted, they're not doing as much, or if anything, to propel the overall Marvel universe forward. They're just doing. They're all very, set in their own lanes, but that gives them a lot more freedom to tell a really good story in a long format that they're not having to worry about. Oh, we got to prepare for WandaVision. Wanda coming in with her Darkhold or whatever. Anyway,
Darkhold. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So this has been. I mean, do you have anything else to add?
Not really. No. Not about the show, and like the trailer was really good. If you guys haven't seen it, go see it. Marvel definitely is putting out some good movies, especially, Black Widow looks good, and Shang-Chi does as well. And the Eternals trailer looks good too. So I'm really positive about this new phase.
Well, I thought you said
the show itself.
Eternals.
He was on your brain. But when it came to this episode for show, wasn't impressed. So yeah. But when it comes to this episode, wasn't impressed. So
and hopefully we'll make up for that next week. This has been another reaction and review. Of course, please remember, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends,
and hit notifications.
Tell your nieces and nephews, tell your newborn kids they can use a tablet. 1-year-olds can use tablets now. They can subscribe.
And all your multiversal selves on interdimensional television.
Right. They can twip the like or smash the like and twip the subscribe. I mean, Anyway,
it is.
So if you want more of this, just Adventures by Abels, YouTube.com, and In the Bat Loop, where you can find both of our beautiful faces reviewing movies and sometimes doing other things. And I think after Loki's over, we might be doing if Marvel news drops, we might be doing some like weekly updates. But that
very strong possibility.
Thanks, guys. We really appreciate your time and engagement, and I think shout out to Katrina for always being here.
Yeah, Katrina, thank you so much. It was fun, like always.
Always. All right, guys. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.